Okay, we should be live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Two Player Podcast with myself and Hard Days
Two
Mike
player
this week.
podcast.
The Two Player Podcast. Yeah, I'm not even like we have. Okay, the Arthur because we haven't done this show in
Yeah,
like
I know. We
God,
haven't, and I don't even know how long now.
like 3 weeks. It feels like.
Yeah.
So we're actually back for the Arthur Podcast. Twan is not here. He's out with family, I believe. Who knows what Twan's doing? But it's myself and Mike today. There are things to talk about, especially since we did miss, like I said, like 3 weeks of this show. So
There's a lot.
before we get into topics and everything, how have you been? What's going on?
I've been fine. I've been playing an absolute unbelievable amount of the Old Republic. I've been having a crazy amount of fun with this game. It's one of my favorite games I've played in a very, very long time. It's an MMO. If anyone doesn't know, and it takes place in the Star Wars universe, I think about 3,000 years before Episode One. So it's kind of like a whole open book like thing. You can pave your way throughout the galaxy, yada yada. It's like a sequel to KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. I believe it takes place like 200 or 300 years after that story. Um, so I've been having a ton of fun with it. I've been playing it essentially nonstop. It's kind of overtaken my even Doom spot currently of what I play, and I just have been playing it just an obscene amount for someone like me to be playing because MMOs aren't exactly in my wheelhouse.
Gotcha.
But
Gotcha.
yeah, it's been great. What about you?
I've been better. I've been better recently. So you know, stuff was going on. I kind of made us miss a couple weeks in a row, but better.
It's good.
And we're here to do the show. So that's what matters. As for what I've been playing,
I'm
I
actually in his
mean,
house right now, forcing him to. I have him at
yeah.
gunpoint. That's the reason why we're doing it right now. I broke into
I
his
mean,
house.
yep,
What have you been
that's
playing now?
true. Um, I've been playing Fallout 4, and I just beat Prey again, and now I'm starting Moon Crash.
Oh yeah.
Uh, which so far so good, pretty fun, pretty awesome. Trying to think if there's something else I was playing. Oh yeah, I booted up System Shock
All right, on.
uh
I wanted
the
to
other
get
day.
that before it went off sale, and I forgot to get it. Whoops.
I think it might
Um.
still be on sale. I checked last night; it was like 55% off or something.
All right, I'll have to take a look here in a minute. Continue. How'd you like that? Because I'm curious about that game.
It's pretty. It's weird. I don't know. I don't think I've played enough of it. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's valid. Yeah.
cool. Uh, but it seems like it's going to be very cool. I'm also kind of debating whether or not I should wait and get it on console. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't even know when it comes out. I think it comes out at the end of the month. I'm not entirely sure on console. But I'm debating whether or not to wait and get it there or if I should just play it on PC. I'm not sure yet, but we'll figure that out eventually. But for now, there are topics. One huge one that I mean, even if we had a show last week, we wouldn't have been able to talk about because it happened after when we normally have the show. So you could say it's kind of old news, but as for the show, it's not old news, and we do have to talk about it. And that is Microsoft closing 4 studios. Alpha Dog, Roundhouse, which was Roundhouse, I believe, was a support studio, Alpha Dog being the mobile developer.
Yep.
And then the two big ones are Tango Gameworks and Arcane Austin. If you follow this channel at all in any way, shape, or form, you know my thoughts and feelings on this because I made a video about this. I'm very clear that I am a fanboy of Arcane. So you can imagine how I feel about this. But I've only talked to Mike off stream about this. And we haven't really had huge discussions about it.
Yeah.
So, and not just in regards, like I mentioned, Arcane also, but in like the totality of the whole thing. How are you feeling now that we are about almost a week away, a week removed from this news initially coming out? How are you feeling about everything?
Um,
Regards
it's
to
it's incredibly disappointing. Just in general. Uh, it's really a shame. I feel genuinely terrible, especially for Arcane and Tango. I feel bad for both of them. I don't know who I feel worse for, either Tango or Arcane. A part of me almost kind of leans towards Tango just because of the fact of just genuinely how well received Hi-Fi Rush was. Um, it's not the
yeah,
most unheard of thing for a game that reviewed very well to the studio no longer exists, but I feel like when it's being backed with a company as much money as Microsoft, you kind of scratch your head a little bit. Um,
mhm,
but it's really sad that Arcane just wasn't able to either fix Redfall, which I honestly think would have been a waste of their time and their talent. And I was kind of hoping that they were just gonna be like, "Fuck it, we're not gonna fix this game. It sucks. We know it sucks. We're just gonna move on." And it seems they're never gonna get that possibility either. And
yeah,
that's a really heartbreaking thing. And I feel for them because that was a game, at least according to whispers from in quote unquote industry insiders, people that work there, you name it, no one really wanted to work on that game. And when they had a quote unquote vision for it, they weren't allowed to make it that vision. It's just been an absolute nightmare
yeah,
for everyone involved in that game. So I feel bad for them. And, we can all sit here and say, one, was this a smart idea? Was this a bad idea? Was this like a financially smart idea? Was this a financially bad idea? I honestly don't even want to really dive into that because realistically, I don't know. All I know is that there's a bunch of very talented people that currently don't have a job. That some of them have made games that are very, very beloved by numerous fan bases on differing platforms, and yeah, I really feel bad for them. This really bums me out.
yeah,
But um, you know, it's one of those things, dude, where I just don't understand. This is kind of what my head is at. Where like, what was the situation with Tango Games and it's Arcane Austin, correct? That got shut down.
hmm
What was the
yeah.
situation going in with like ZeniMax? Were these like make or break games for them? These must have been make or break games for them in general. That's honestly what I'm wondering is like what was the mindset with these studios going into this generation? I don't mean with them. I mean with like the publisher, like with ZeniMax and now to Microsoft, where this like they're like,
Yeah.
all right, you're either gonna nail it or we got to move on from you. And normally, even though I'm not happy or okay with that line of thinking, it wouldn't be so bad if Microsoft didn't have numerous quotes multiple different times at multiple different interviews, multiple different times of the year saying how they're going to reinvest in all of these companies. They're going to get them this, they're going to get them that, they're going to give them this, that, this, and the other thing. That to me isn't okay and it's pretty shitty and really isn't fair. Um, and the fact they were kind of robbed of this possibility to grow or correct the course really sucks because of Microsoft themselves said, "Oh, we want to give our pardon me, our developers the chance to make mistakes." In an Arcane's instance, it's not even their mistake. They were forced to make that game, and nobody
Yeah.
checked in on them as they were making that game. And that's a responsibility that still falls on Phil. It still falls on Matt Booty. It still falls on Bethesda. I understand that Bethesda still quote unquote looks after itself, but when you're owned by a different company, it is your job and to check in and see how that game is going and what the read is on
Yes.
people. That is still your
That's
job. Um, and oh, sorry, go on.
I was to say that's literally Matt Booty's job.
And
Cause
oh,
because
sorry.
Matt Booty, like I found out recently, apparently the chain of command is like Jill Braff is like to Bethesda Studios what Matt Booty is to Xbox Studios, though Matt Booty is literally, from what I understand, the boss, like her boss. So if anybody should be in the studio, like checking up on things and constantly checking morale, it should be Matt Booty.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't know. Maybe he is doing that, but it doesn't seem like he is. It really doesn't seem like he is.
Yeah.
Uh,
And also, oh, sorry, continue.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
And it's also, minus the even whole point about morale and just that in general. I mean, look at a studio like Tango, and I understand there is some complexity with Arcane and
What's
with
up, Tom?
Tango, because with Arcane and Tango, I understand that a majority of their workforce either left during development of the game or left after the development of their game. So I understand there is that complexity there, but I feel like when you have something healthy and you have something strong and something loyal, I feel like that's the time you'd want to water them, quote unquote, to let them grow. And I think it's a real shame that that wasn't what happened here with these developers. And once again, I understand I'm just a gamer. I don't really, I don't have the insights of these businesses. I don't have that. But from the outside, I feel for these companies because I understand now with Hi-Fi Rush, with Matt Booty had a quote saying, "Oh, we want smaller, yada yada, more condensed, big award-winning games." And I was like, "What about Hi-Fi Rush?" Apparently, that game took like 5 years of development time, and but also at the same time, though, now they have that groundwork. So would it really take another 5 years?
That's the
There's just
question. Yeah.
that's like there's so many little questions and unanswered questions and ideas, and it's just we're never really gonna know. And the reason why we have so many unanswered questions is because a lot of the things we're curious about completely contradict what Microsoft themselves said. So the whole situation in itself really stinks. Do I say it's completely like, what's the word, unexpected? For Arcane, for Tango, I'd say that's pretty goddamn unexpected. That game won more awards and got Microsoft, I believe, some awards at the Game of the Year award ceremony thing, or maybe one
Yep.
award, and numerous other awards. To me, that's insane. I understand Arcane Austin hasn't been the most profitable, but maybe that's when you scale back the company and make it work on something that is double A, but it's something they want to work on. I don't really know. That's something I can't have an answer for. But the situation's garbage. It really is garbage.
Yeah. And you said earlier, and I'm just gonna pick the other thing. Just
Yeah.
hey, Too Big, appreciate you for stopping by. Too Big with a 4.99 super chat says, "Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hello from Hawaii. It's 8:30 p.m. over here. I mean, you could say it's afternoon. It's way, 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 way afternoon. It's
Yeah.
very afternoon. So you could say that. I'm not mad at that, but appreciate the support either way. Too Big. But I'm gonna go because earlier you said you feel especially bad for Tango, and just for the sake of the podcast. I mean, I think it goes without saying that most people feel bad. Most empathetic human beings feel bad in general because it's
Lost their
shitty and a bunch
job.
of people. Yeah, it's shitty and a bunch of people are out of jobs. But just for the sake of the podcast, I'm gonna go. I feel just a little bit worse for Arcane,
Okay.
simply because Tango went out. Granted, they shouldn't have went out, but they did go
I
out
know
on a
about
high
exactly what you're about to say.
on a high note. Whereas
Yeah.
Arcane, the last thing they got to do was something they didn't want to do, and then I mean, I'm sure people at the studio probably knew it wasn't going to be good, and then it comes out, they're like, okay, well, it's not good, just like we expected, and then they're like, don't worry though, you'll get them next time, and then well, there's no next time.
Yep.
It's just you're done now. Which again, and you mentioned,
Not only will you get them next time, we're gonna let you rebuild this game, make it better, and expand your studio. Like,
yeah,
sorry, I continue.
which which to what you said earlier about, I mean, and Phil Spencer even said it when he went on Kind of Funny after Redfall launched and it was a disaster. He went on there and said, "Hey, we weren't as involved as we should have been. We and he and his reasoning for that was he explicitly said we were giving more attention to Starfield. Everything that we should have been giving to Redfall was going to Starfield. So it's like that's mismanagement on their part. Whoever's involved with that, Phil all the way down, Satya all the way down. I don't care who's involved. Everybody all the way down. Like that's on you guys for not being involved in it. And that's really all I can say about that. But just in terms of the whole thing, I mean, it bums me out just as an Arcane fan, but it also bums me out just because like I, here I was like not too long ago. I downloaded because I never played them. I downloaded. I was like, oh, I'll download Evil Within because I'm like, well, obviously that's probably going to be Tango's next game. I would assume.
Yeah.
And then like that was like I don't know 2-3 weeks ago, and then a couple weeks later, it's like yeah, Tango's gone.
Nope.
They're just gone.
It's gone. Their one Japanese studio just gone. Just gone.
Yeah.
Their actual footstep into that market just gone.
Yeah,
gone.
and I'll tell you what else is. You brought up a good point about their one Japanese studio, literally their only Japanese studio. How about the fact that they're constantly saying how much they need to be in on Japan and how enthused they are about growing the Xbox brand in Japan. Not only just the whole Japan aspect, but and I know this studio that I'm about to mention is not one of the bigger studios. Not many people talking about it because it is just a smaller mobile studio. But they also talk very much about like, oh, we really need to be in on mobile. We have to be on mobile. It's super, super important. You killed. I mean, before Activision, you killed your only mobile studio. Really.
Yep.
I mean, now you got King, so I guess whatever. Fuck it all. You can burn anything you want, I guess. But like, Alpha Dog Studios was and they had a pretty successful. Like Mighty Doom was relatively successful for a mobile game.
It was actually doing rather well. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not misremembering.
Yeah, so it's like the decisions that. It's so weird. As an Xbox fan, it's so weird and frustrating and just dumb. Whenever Xbox always like, and I'm sure Ham said it. I know you've said it. I know many people have said it. Where it's like here's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. Sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 4 steps back.
Yeah,
where it's just like, this is like, are you guys really like, are you that dumb, or is this like a contest to see how dumb you can be? I don't get like, I struggle to understand how things work, and we've talked about it off the show, and I mentioned him a little bit earlier on the show. Matt Booty, like, listen, I don't know the guy personally. I'm sure he's a good guy, but dude, I don't know what he's doing to justify still being in the position he's in.
Yeah,
I really don't.
It's a fucking shame, dude. I don't understand what's going on there. And this is one of the things, I saw someone say is like, I wonder if it's been the plan all along to shut these studios down. And I was thinking, I'm like, honestly, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
But also, why the fuck have they been saying for literal months how great these studios are, saying they're going to spend X amount of money into them if that was the plan all along? Even if anything, you just shut the fuck up about it and not address it.
I'm glad you said that.
That's what doesn't make much sense to me, because I could absolutely see a reality where probably Bethesda before the buyout was going to shut them down anyways. I can absolutely see that reality without a fucking doubt. Mm-hmm. It's been said multiple times that Arcane Austin isn't really known for making profitable games. Arcane in general, and that isn't. And as much as I don't like saying this, because it makes me sound like I'm defending this, and that is a problem. And so, like, I understand that they can't keep them around, but why all this say they're going to reinvest into the company to make them profitable and to make them realize what they're good for? I just feel like it's just not a reality. That, like, they weren't in reality when they were saying that. It doesn't all of a sudden a studio making a specific type of game is all of a sudden be like, oh, we're gonna find a whole new niche and we're gonna fucking slam it out of the park and it's gonna be great. And even though I think Arcane could have done it, that's not what I'm saying. It's just that like it's like Microsoft, what they think they're gonna pull it out of their ass in 2 years, like
Yeah.
while they're fixing Redfall. Like I don't know, dude. It's really stupid, and it's I don't know. I feel like they really need better explanation and more clarification. Like, Matt Booty was saying we need better. What is the word he said? He said they needed more
Smaller
vision,
games.
smaller game,
Oh,
higher
okay. Yeah.
awards. Remember how they said they want like a shorter turnaround? I think they want like a
Yes.
more like they want all that. Then like okay, so why didn't you give Arcane or Tango the chance to at least try that? Were they not able to? Did nobody want to step up to that plate? Did they not want to downsize? Like, what's the fucking story here? And I don't think that's really the answer we're ever going to get. We're probably going to get like 40 conflicting answers from employees that work there. And understandably, that's not shade against them at all. That's just how usually this stuff goes.
Yeah.
But it's just a goddamn shame because what's the story? And also today with Square Enix's news of things, not being as I'm like, what? It's like there's a much bigger issue going on right now within the industry itself when it comes to growth that I don't even really know where to begin. Personally, I don't know if we're going to talk about that later as well. But I don't know
Yeah.
if you heard the Square Enix news.
Yeah, the
But
Square Enix news. I have that up in my tabs as something
okay.
we'll probably get to that for sure. But I'm glad you mentioned what you said there because I threw it out on bullsitting last Friday that I think like I feel like it was their plan. I think, and when I say there, I mean ZeniMax, and then because it's ZeniMax's plan, it's also by proxy Xbox's plan. I think it was their plan when that deal was done back in 2020. I feel like ZeniMax probably told Microsoft, "Hey, not looking good for Arcane Austin. It's also not looking good for Tango." And Microsoft went ahead with the deal, knowing that. And then I feel like these games were kind of their last shot to be like, okay, because Arcane just historically is never like they don't turn tons of profit on games. It's just not what they do. Like they're in a niche genre. Immersive sims are very very niche, and you can tell just by looking at the rest of the AAA industry. There's not many studios that make immersive sim games because you don't make tons of money off of them. So it is what it is. That's just the case. That's how it's always been. But I feel like this was kind of their last chance uh, to kind of prove themselves a little bit. Not even prove themselves because they proved themselves multiple times, but to make money.
Yeah,
This was
prove
their
yourself as
last
profitable.
chance. Yes, to make money. And when they didn't make money, as shitty as it sounds and as pissed off as it makes me, because I think we don't need to be getting rid of studios like these studios. We need to have more of them. But
Yep.
that's just me. I'm not running $1 trillion company, so what the fuck do I know? But it's just like when they failed to do that, it was just like apparently that was enough. Apparently that was enough. It took for Tango. It took one of their most successful games ever, just generally speaking, Hi-Fi Rush, like Evil Within 1 did pretty well. I think it was so like what 5 million copies, which isn't a groundbreaking amount, but it's like pretty good for a studio that just kind of came out of nowhere with an amazing game like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at Redfall and Arcane Austin, it's like on the opposite end of the spectrum, it took them one fuck up. It took them one fuck up to go from like I mean they were always niche, but to go from like a niche company that everybody who loved those kind of games loved that studio. And it took them
Yeah.
one fuck up to just now they're dead. So it's there's not much more really you can say about it other than the fact that it's a bummer. It stinks. Uh
Don't
You know,
worry though,
like
guys. They're gonna have a mobile store opening soon. You're gonna be you guys love that. We got a mobile store coming soon. I'm like, Sarah
dude,
Bond, what the fuck are you talking
that
about?
whole interview sucked. We
So I'm
watched
like,
it on we watched it on Bullsitting, and I'm just like, dude. First of all, after news like this, I don't want to hear from Sarah Bond.
yeah,
And that's nothing against Sarah Bond or whatever, but just like after news like this, Sarah Bond's been in her position for what, like I don't know, a couple months at this point. Like
yeah,
I don't want to hear from Sarah. I want either Phil, and if it's not Phil, then I want Satya.
yeah.
Ideally, I want Satya.
No,
I will.
actually, me too at this point.
I want Satya up there answering questions to as to why the multi-trillion dollar corporation can't afford, you know, to float a studio for 3 years while they turn around a game for you. I would love that answer because the reality is there really isn't an answer. You can't afford it. And then also the thing that was really telling, and people again shitting on Sarah Bond, which she shouldn't have been in that position anyway, but whatever, it is what it is. But in that interview, I don't know if you saw, like, one of the shots was like, um, here's Sarah Bond talking about, oh, we had to make some tough choices and blah blah blah, whatever shit she said, whatever runaround answer she gave as to why they closed Tango.
Yep.
Like, and then the camera pans out to the back of the room, and you can see above her Microsoft's earnings chart, and it's like it's up there. It's up there. Like it's up there. It's like a little bit down from last year, but it's still up there. And it's just like I it's a really bad look. It's a really really bad look. The fact that you're as a brand Xbox, like, you can argue about the console all you want, but as a brand, Xbox is making more money than it's ever made. But like you can't afford to keep two studios going, one of which just put out a hit game for you.
Yeah.
So
I keep seeing
I
people
don't
say also this has to do with either Game Pass buying games. I'm like, this is way more than that. They making Xbox as a whole. It's because of ABK. I'm like, yeah, no shit. That's why they bought fucking ABK, to make money. I appreciate the mathematical genius of that, but it's every time I see that on Twitter, dude, it must like a hell site. But I don't know, man. And it's gonna go over to Square Enix where they're making profit, but it's not enough for growth, and they're having to reevaluate their entire game making process and selling process, and it's a
Mhm.
I don't know, man.
I just don't know. I don't know what. Here's the thing. I want Satya to answer for this, but I already know that no matter what Satya says, short of just telling the truth, being like, "Hey, we're making tons of money, but fuck it, I want to make more." Outside of
Yeah,
just being legitimately truthful and honest in that scenario, there's really nothing that he could say that would make me less pissed.
yeah,
Um, so it is what it is. Arcane's closed, Tango's closed, Alpha Dog, Roundhouse, all these studios closed. The second part of this is actually just something that pertains to me because I was one of the people who bought the Bite Back upgrade for Redfall. And if you did, if you're one of those like handful of people who actually did that, I guess you have to go to Arcane tweeted it out. Like you have to go to their Bethesda website, and then you have to sign up for what was the word they used? Let me see if I can find it here. Um, let's see. Man, okay, well it's not here, but it was something like you'll receive an offer for the not like you'll receive your money back. You'll receive an offer for equal price of whether you bought the Bite Back upgrade or whether you bought the Bite Back edition, which was like $100 some. But like you'll receive an offer of equal value. It's like, what does that mean? You're gonna give me a game I don't want, or are you giving me credit? Because ideally, I would just like my money back.
yeah.
but who the fuck knows how that's gonna work? But it's just bad all the way around. There's really not much more to say about it.
I'm worried about everything as a whole, man. With like, heavens, the industry is as more profitable as ever, but I'm like, it is, but like, is it enough? And you're like, what? Everyone's, what do you mean? I'm like, these companies want to keep growing and growing and growing and growing. They don't want
Mhm.
profit. They want growth money. They want reinvestment money. They don't want to just make profit to go and make the next thing and make the same exact thing and do it over and over and over again. They want to keep growing and getting bigger and make growing out their company, getting more product out faster, quicker in every market. They want everyone play. It's I don't know, man. It's not the same game as we were playing a generation ago anymore. It's changed. Um, and I really don't know how it's gonna end. I'm not saying the fucking industry's gonna crash, but I don't think developers are gonna want to work for all these companies that are like, out of nowhere, like, no, you're closed now, so we can focus on, you know, Ass Blaster 7000,
Mhm.
part three, and because
Yeah.
that makes us more money. Because I mean that you can argue we're already in that cycle, but it could even grow even worse. Who knows, really?
Yeah. I like this whole scenario has like I've done a 180 on a few things. And one thing in particular was like there was always this talk of like, especially during the ABK deal and even after the ABK deal, like Microsoft's not done acquiring. Is that was like the talk? It's like Microsoft isn't done acquiring. And my whole thing that I've maintained forever was please, please, please acquire Techland. Now seeing this, don't do not stay very far away from Techland, please.
Yep.
Just let Techland do what they do, operate however they operate. Please don't get near them. I really don't want that. And that sucks because like I don't know. I just feel like this obviously is tied a lot to what's going on with integrating ABK and everything. I also saw on Xbox 2, Jez had a theory which doesn't not make sense to me. I don't know if I buy it entirely, but it doesn't not make sense. And he had an interesting theory that was like this probably is tied to Fallout. And I was kind of confused when he said that. And then he explained it as imagine Microsoft's surprise when Fallout TV show hits. It's well received, like critically well received across the board. Fans love it, critics love it. It's kind of like an out of nowhere success. And then also imagine Microsoft or Satya Nadella or whoever the fuck at the top of this thing when they say, hey, we don't have a game ready for this. And then, because there was also the comment, and the reason that Jez said this, and it was cool to hear that it pissed him off as much as it pissed me off. Matt Booty's whole comments on why this happened during the town hall meeting. I think there was a quote of like, it was a way to shift resources around. The thing that pissed me off about that was like, yo, you literally just put like hundreds of people out of jobs and you're just calling them resources.
Yeah.
Which I get it. You know, you work for a corporation that literally views them as that. But in the moment, like as a human talking to other humans, you probably shouldn't be saying that,
Yeah.
really. But that's besides the point. But what Jez was saying was because of that comment from Matt Booty, he suspects it has something to do with Fallout. About the fact that, hey, maybe this is a way for them to, again, as Matt Booty so eloquently put it, move around resources, reallocate resources into projects that they know will make them money. And what do they know will make them money right now? Fallout. So I don't know that I buy that entirely, but it doesn't not make sense.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen with this? The end result is I'm pissed off. Lots of people are pissed off, and Microsoft broke a lot. Like they gained a lot of trust over the years, and this kind of in one foul swoop kind of pooped all over it. So it's a tough, but it's going to be tough for them to gain trust. And I'll tell you what. Before we move on to some of the other topics, this will actually lead us into the next topic. This showcase has to be because people going into the showcase, myself included, I'm going to be thinking, I'm never going to trust you ever again. And the only way you can alleviate that for even an hour, 2 hours, however long the showcase is by giving me literally the greatest showcase you've ever done.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has if you have all this negative news and then you come out and just shit the bed on a showcase, then I mean, I don't know what the fuck to say at that point, quite frankly.
Oh yeah, what the fuck can you say?
Yeah, right? But like I said, this does lead us into our next bit of news, which is at least a little bit more optimistic, and I know something good at least for you, and I know for myself also. But there are some rumors going around. I believe Tom Warren started these rumors that the new Doom game will be at the showcase, which shocked me because, quite frankly, I think me and you both kind of thought they would be working on Quake.
Yeah, I kind of thought so as well, but maybe, I guess, once again, not profitable enough? I don't know.
That's true. That's actually a pretty good point.
This game's been in development, though, since 2020 itself, 2021. And there's rumors it might be coming out this year. If it is a Doom game, it's probably going to be running essentially on the same everything, and maybe obviously going to be obvious enhancements, but it probably has less of a turnaround compared to a whole new Quake game. I am so excited. I don't know if everyone here knows. I'm sure they do. I am a Doom Eternal drug addict. That's my favorite game of all time. It is my favorite first-person shooter. It's my favorite everything. It has the best combat loop I've ever experienced in a game. In id we trust. So I'm more than looking forward to what they're going to have for us, if it's there, because who knows, we might end up getting there and it's going to be like a side scroller for the Nintendo Switch. So
Doom platformer.
Doom platformer.
It's a Metroidvania.
Yeah, it's going into the new Smash Brothers game. But because you never it's so
oh, you're cutting out.
How about now?
You're good.
How about now? I'm good now?
You're fine.
Okay. Yeah. You sound garbled. I'm just kidding. I can't wait. Man, I can't wait to see what it is. I've been excited ever since I probably got to around the 2,000 hour mark on Doom Eternal. I've been waiting for their next game patiently. I thought it was going to be at either the last summer's showcase or maybe at the Game Awards or the QuakeCon. And when it wasn't there, I'm like, all right, we need to at least get a teaser at the Game Awards, Xbox Summer Games Fest, or what the hell it's called, Game Showcase. And we got
the Keeleys. Everything's called the Keeleys now.
Oh God, don't even fucking corporatize gaming even more. But which is funny because literally E3 was like for shareholders and stuff, and that felt less corporate than whatever we're doing now, which is insane to me. But it is what it is. But man, I can't wait. That's all I'm gonna say because I won't shut up because I have like a million theories of what could be going on, and I just would rather just wait before I talk.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I'm excited to see this, and you mentioned the fact that this it kind of makes sense that it would be Doom, even though we all kind of thought it would be Quake because,
Mhm.
I mean, Doom's their latest thing. It's a more of a guaranteed success than having to reboot Quake uh, for not only, especially considering the fact like those type of games, you have to reboot it for not only a new audience, but you also have to maintain the old audience.
Mhm.
Which I mean, and we've seen Halo struggle with that over the years, and I feel like they kind of nailed it with Infinite, but you know, we all know how that went with the fucking lack of content and everything. But it is what it is. But it makes more sense to go with Doom over Quake, and you know, less of a turnaround. You can get that game out quicker. And speaking of getting it out quicker, I do believe in this exact same article. Let's see if I can find it. But I do know the report that was that this game will not only be shown this year, but also be released holiday 2024.
That would be fucking insane. Like
Yes. I'm
that
trying to find that.
that would be actually fucking wild if that is the case. But a part of me is kind of like, I hate sounding so negative, but like I almost don't buy it either. Like, not that I don't buy it, like I don't see it happening. Like I'm not that obtuse. But I'm not that square. I don't know. I don't know what joke I was going there for, but I'm gonna roll with it.
You're also not that right.
I hate you, Matt. Anyway,
Got him.
no,
Got him.
but you know, if it is but also wait a minute, what the hell is coming out this summer? This summer, this like winter time, possibly
Well, I
Indiana
mean,
Jones game.
just from Xbox, you would have, if the whole Doom thing is true, you would have Indiana Jones, Avowed somewhere in there, and then you would have Doom. And that's the things we know about, and that's just from Xbox. Forget the whole industry, because me and him were talking about this a while ago as well. Like the end of August into September is fucked. Like
Yeah,
it's like Space Marine 2. There's like, I gotta look this up as I'm talking, but there's like a string in like a stretch of like 3 weeks where like 5 games come out. Wukong, Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, Star Wars Outlaws, uh, and then there's like 2 more that come out around the exact same time. And that's just like a 3-4 week period, and late August, early September.
that's fucking
So
nuts.
so God only knows what the rest of the industry is going to do between now and December. Like who even knows? Uh,
God
but
damn, man.
it's gonna be very 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 busy. Apparently, so we'll see. But I I think it comes out this year because in fact,
I'll
didn't we
fucking
see?
lose it. I'm sorry. I will lose it if it comes out this year. And I'm just gonna say right now, I will have like daily streams of it over on the Game Drain every single probably hour of the day I am not working
I'm
until
gonna beat it on the hardest difficulty before Mike does.
Matt, you can't even beat Doom Eternal
Bet,
on the hardest
bet,
difficulty.
bet. Already did it twice.
I
Blindfolded,
did it
upside
40
down, in
times.
space,
Upside
underwater.
down. I hate you. All right, continue. Continue.
But I mean, yeah, that would actually be a good show. I'll play it if it. Here's the thing: if it comes out this year, I will try to stream an entire playthrough of it on the hardest difficulty. Not. Let me say not Nightmare on Nightmare, because Ultra Nightmare is the one where like you can't
Yeah, you
die at all, and
die.
if you
Yeah,
do, then
you
you
restart
yeah.
the game.
I'll stream it on Nightmare. I love that.
Oh, yeah, that's fair to me. That's
If it comes
fucking
out this year, if
yeah.
it comes out this year, but we'll see. We'll see what
God.
happens. But yeah, there's listen, as shitty as it feels to be a fan of Xbox right now, I would be lying if I said I'm not excited for the show. I'd be lying.
Yeah.
Uh, there's also, I don't know if you saw it, but there was also earlier in the week, Jeff Grubb, or earlier last week, I should say, Jeff Grubb was saying that, oh, Perfect Dark, I'm hearing Perfect Dark. Sources are telling me that it's in a very bad state. And then, of course, Jeff Grubb came out like a few days later and he's like, actually, guys, apparently it's not that bad. It's like, well, why the fuck did you just? Why'd you? What are you? What are you doing? Like, it's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Jeff Grubb confuses me sometimes, but is what it
No,
is.
yeah, I
But
saw that too, and like he's like, yeah, actually, I heard some people say it's actually in a really good place. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are we doing here?
you're like, which one is it? Because, and then
Like,
like he went after he reported it was in a bad place. He was like, I wish. I wish people would have focused in on what I was really trying to say, which is I don't even know what he was trying to say, but he tried to do like a spin to make it not so bad. He's like, I really wish people would have focused in on this. It's like, dude, the headline that you put out was that Perfect Dark is not in a good place. Like, what do you think people are gonna run with?
yeah, I know. What the
Like, what
fuck?
do you think? It's
Uh,
I don't know. I'm not a reporter, so what do I know? But it is what it is. I do believe we have heard reports though that Perfect Dark will be at the showcase, and I said on Bullsitting on Friday, listen, if Perfect Dark's not the showcase, then
cancel that bitch.
again, Matt Booty, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? But because you guys showed that game in 2020. Like
Yeah.
I was in my I'm 30. I was in my mid 20s when you showed that game. And we haven't seen a lick of it since. And the only news we did get on it was that half the team left and you're bringing in Crystal Dynamics, which honestly, the half the team leaving is pretty shitty. It's not a very good sign. But when you said you're bringing in Crystal Dynamics, I actually got a little bit more excited for the game. And then
Yep.
now here we are years later. I haven't heard anything. So hopefully you're at the showcase, please. That's all I ask of you in terms of Perfect Dark. But there's a lot of things I want to see from the showcase. But there is also more news, and we mentioned it kind of briefly with the whole Final Fantasy, with the whole Square Enix thing. Whenever I think of
Might as
Square
well
Enix, I
be.
just think of I just think of Final Fantasy, which is insane because they put out like a trillion different anime games every single year.
Right.
And the only one I know is Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So, but Square Enix apparently will aggressively pursue multi-platform strategy after profits tumble. And I saw you tweet about this, and you said it earlier in the show as well. Profits didn't tumble; they just weren't enough to make the executives happy. Apparently.
Yeah.
So
So essentially, their main fumble in the area is with MMO, mobile, and PC, and they're like, well, actually, they do make a profit with their normal games, and it's like the thing is though is they don't make enough profit to make being able to, how do you say this? When you're not making enough for growth, then you're really not making anything, and you're not growing a business. You're not gaining influence. You're not going to eventually start selling more product by doing the same exact thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. The reason why it's an issue is that with your MMO side isn't doing well, but your other games are still doing fine. It's just not enough to keep reinvesting into the company. You might get what you make enough money to get another exclusive deal for a platform and make Final Fantasy 16 part 453. That'll sell the same exact amount, and then you repeat the process again, but you can't repeat the same
yeah,
process because game development is getting even more expensive. I keep seeing people say this isn't an own on console exclusivity, and I'm like, no, it absolutely is still an on console exclusivity, because if console exclusivity was enough, that wouldn't be this nothing. We wouldn't be hearing about any changes right now.
this wouldn't be a discussion if that was enough.
This wouldn't be a discussion, because if console exclusivity was enough, and that's always, every time I keep hearing people, that's the every time that we talk about game prices, talk about Game Pass, we talk about console exclusivity, is the reason why things are going multi-platform. The reason why Sony, you could say, like, bend the knee on the Helldivers thing, and why they're releasing shit on PC as is, and why Xbox is releasing things on PlayStation, and why now Square Enix is looking to be more aggressively multi-platform is that there's just not enough money in a single place. There isn't enough to keep growing your company, and
Mhm.
possibly expand and like extend what you're capable of. And
Yeah.
I keep seeing people say, well, look, but it's not profitable. I'm like, yeah, there's a difference between profitable and actually being fucking worth it. And it's
Yeah.
not even like it's like you're not making one game and then riding off into the sunset. That's not how businesses work, and that's why some people that are so emotionally attached to this crap kind of don't want to admit that, because it's a little hard for a lot of people to. But there's a reason why Microsoft has to release stuff on PlayStation from time to time, and there's a reason why Square Enix is now becoming even more multi-platform focused rather than somewhat focused. There's a reason for all of this. It's because it's not just about profit. It's about making a surplus of that to be able to reinvest it in other areas and gain even more. You're not supposed to just make enough money and be done. And I feel like it's such a short-sighted, and I apologize for repeating myself there, because I just realized I did about like 2 times. But
Right.
it's very short-sighted how some people are having this conversation. But no, they're making enough money. Yeah, but it's not enough. Um, it's and that's why I worry about games as a whole, because we have the Take-Two guy being like, our game's actually worth like $100 if you think of it, and like we have other developers like,
Mhm.
our games need to be $80 or $90, and I'm like, when's the actual, like, when's it gonna stop? That's an issue,
Yeah.
like a genuine issue that needs to be addressed, because we have companies that are making the games that sell the most. Like, you can look at Insomniac that made Spider-Man 2 that still had to let go of people, because it's, even though it's very, 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 very profitable, they can still find ways to make it more profitable, and essentially kind of not enough, and to find ways to burn the fat, um, to try to squeeze just a little bit more out. And I think it's an industry-wide problem, where and this is where I agree with Sean Layden. I disagree with him on a lot of things, because I feel like it comes a little bit from an emotional point with him from time to time. But he was right when he said companies need to make smaller games from time to time to fill in between the big AAA games. Every studio cannot be making a AAA hundreds and hundreds of $1 million game at every single given point in time, because if one of those games flops or they doesn't sell enough, it can completely murder a studio, or it can
Mhm.
really derail the company. Um,
Well,
oh, sorry, go on.
no, to say, well, think about the fact that the PS5, like people, just an example, people talk about like how well the PS5 is selling, and it is selling very well. But think about that versus the PS2. It's probably not going to catch the PS2.
Yeah,
So it's like it's great. Like even the PS4 was great. Mix of the PS4 being great and its competition being rather shit for that
yeah,
generation. But like you think of even the PS4 doing as well as it did, it still didn't hit PS2 numbers. So it's
hmm,
like you're the business as far as consoles is complete, like it's not growing. You could say it's either plateauing or in some cases it's regressing. Like in
yeah,
very minor cases it's regressing. But like think of the fact that back in the day when Final Fantasy, I'm for whatever reason I almost forgot the name, but when Final Fantasy was on
Circle.
PS2, like yeah, they could afford that because well, the game only costs like what 50 million maybe
Yeah,
versus and I don't know, I'm just ballparking. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. I don't know really what the budget would be, but it's whatever it's not what it is today to make
yeah,
Final Fantasy 16. That's the point I'm getting at. So like you're losing players on console, be it either rapidly or very slowly, seems to be more slowly, but you're losing players on console, and the cost of the things that you're trying to make to sell them is going up exponentially. It doesn't make sense for you to only be releasing your game on one thing when that is the case. You should be literally everywhere that you possibly can.
I
is
agree.
is is what should be happening. And you mentioned the whole Microsoft thing. It's like that's why we just saw Sea of Thieves. Like I would imagine after I don't know what how long has Sea of Thieves been out since like 2016, I think.
Hmm.
But like since that game's been out, it's been like 8 years almost. Like, I would imagine at a certain point they probably hit a plateau on PC and Xbox of people who want to play it. So why not put it on another thing to get more people to play it? That's just kind of that seems like it's going to be the nature of things. And Square
Yeah.
Enix, especially considering the fact that Square Enix doesn't have a platform. Like, they don't have a platform to sell you. They don't have accessories to sell you. They don't have all sorts of other things to offset costs. They're literally just making games for hundreds of millions of dollars and then selling them to you for a flat fee.
Yep.
Put it everywhere that you possibly can. So I'm kind of surprised it took Square to get this long to get to that point, but yeah, hey, they're here. They're here now.
Yeah.
I
They're
guess
here now.
that's what matters for them, I suppose. But I do think it is kind of like an industry-wide thing. You also look at Sony and how they're bringing games to PC and everything. I don't think we'll ever see a time, or at least not anytime, like close any time close enough to even worry about. I don't think we'll ever see a PlayStation game come out besides MLB come out on Xbox, but like PC, that's becoming a very real thing. And
Absolutely.
Sony's making their mistakes transitioning to PC, and they're going to learn from them and everything. But it is what it is. They're going to have to make that transition, and it's just the way the industry is moving. And Square Enix is apparently finally figuring it out. So hats off to them. I'm trying to think if there was. I want to say there was another topic. For some reason, I can't find it. Damn it, my bookmarks.
What happened?
No, it's just I hate the thing in bookmarks on Twitter whenever you click on something and it doesn't take you to it, it just brings it up on the side of the page. I don't.
Oh, I hate fucking Twitter.
I don't like it.
Everything stinks. It stinks.
But yeah, I can't find the other topic.
Well, that's unfortunate. I'm not no hey, because I know what that's like when you can't find shit.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly trying to think of what the hell else could we talk about. I feel like we've kind of covered everything.
I mean, we covered the major news since we the major news.
I mean, did we ever talk about? The whole. Do we want to talk about Helldivers 2 at all, or is that a situation that's so beaten into the ground no one gives a shit anymore?
Well, Helldivers 2 is a weird situation in that Sony seemingly learned their lesson only to unlearn it a couple of days later.
Yeah.
So that one's kind of funny, and if you aren't up to speed on that, anybody watching, it's Sony basically said, hey, now you need to sign in a PSN to play Helldivers 2, even if you already bought it and you've been playing it for months at this point without signing into PSN. Well, now you need to. And then obviously the community, like the PC community does, said, no, fuck that. We're not doing that. And in complete unison, in a moment of complete singularity, everybody on PC review bombed Helldivers 2. Like, it was incredible. I've never seen anything like it. It was it was like 240.
I swear to God,
240,000 recent reviews.
Yeah.
So overwhelmingly negative. And then Sony saw that and they're like, actually, you know what? Never mind. Only to come out a few days later with Ghost of Tsushima on PC and say, we're doing it all again.
The one thing I'll at least say about that is that it's there. It's going to be there at launch. One thing, too, I keep seeing people with the EULA and they're always, but it's the EULA. I'm like, okay, that's great. Why wasn't it important enough to essentially we had to wait 80-something plus days? I did the math originally. I think it was like 84 days since launch. You're telling me the servers were that unstable for 84 days? Also, if it's for our safety, you're telling me you sold me an unsafe product for 84 days?
Right.
Like, it's like, no matter which way you spin it, it wasn't a good look. And that's kind of why people kind of erupted because one, they sold it in fucking countries that people all of a sudden that get if they got
Mhm.
a when they had to sign it, they couldn't fucking play it anymore.
Yep.
And I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. I don't understand what happened in that. I don't like. I try to rationalize what the fuck was going on there, but it's like none of it made sense to me. But hey, none of these corporations really make that much sense to me, to be honest with you. So, but yeah. So the one thing with the whole Ghost of Tsushima thing, I will say, is that they're like, yeah. Apparently, from my understanding, though, you only need PSN to play online. However,
Mhm.
they're also not going to sell it in regions that don't
In
have
those
PSN,
countries.
which is nearly
Yeah.
200 fucking countries.
Yep.
Which is fucking insane. I didn't even realize that there was that many countries. I'm just kidding, but it's kind of weird though. You really don't
That's
think
a
of it,
lot
but
of cities.
it's a lot of, and you also think of like, Vietnam just banned Steam. Did you hear about that?
I did
Viet-
see something on that. I don't know the whole news on that, but I did see it.
yeah, that it's oh fuck, dude. The world's fucking weird, dude. I don't know. Apparently, Vietnam is claiming Steam isn't paying some kind of a fee, even though Valve is claiming, yeah, we are. And I don't know, man. I fucking who knows if anything's real anymore at this point. But yeah, it's a whole clusterfuck. I'm just hoping Sony. Really, what Sony needs to do is outside of expanding PSN to new regions, is just make a PC launcher like of any sort that ties in maybe with Steam, that just allows you to look at trophies, message your friends, invite them to parties, share your gameplay clips, yada yada. Make it worth it to people to get involved in that ecosystem, to want to make an account. You don't just be like, hey, log in and go fuck yourself because you gotta log in. Even though honestly, it's their game, they really can. But if you're gonna stealth drop shit like that, or if you want to make an impact on a community, you got to kind of make it make sense for them. And I'm hoping they
Yeah.
do make it make sense, because I think Microsoft, especially with their PC store, kind of needs a little bit of a wake up call, um, and a little bit more of a realization that, hey, our main competitor, whether they don't want to say it is or not, is now at our doorstep, launching their award winning yada yada games that
Yeah.
people
Can
want
I
to play.
can I say really quick on that
Yeah, of
front?
course.
Literally fold Microsoft Store into BattleNet. Literally just do that, please. Like, and here's the thing. Obviously, you would want some sort of Steam integration. And the most perfect world, you would want some sort of Steam integration.
Mhm.
But I don't know, for whatever reason, apparently that's never going to happen, whether it's Valve doesn't want to agree to it, or maybe Microsoft doesn't. Like, whatever's going on there, we don't know. But at least with BattleNet, like, Microsoft Store on PC has no goodwill at all for any PC player
Fucking
whatsoever.
garbage.
Like, every PC player I know hates Microsoft Store. They hate it. Whereas for BattleNet, yeah, it's not Steam, and really nobody likes any launcher as much as Steam. It's outside of maybe GOG for some people, but like really nobody likes any launcher outside of Steam on PC. But at least people use BattleNet consistently. They're familiar with BattleNet on a consistent basis, and they feel comfortable enough to use it so that, hey, you integrate all you have into that because now you technically own it, and get rid of the whole Microsoft. That's one step that would make it so much easier. I bet you their sales would go up on PC if they cut out Microsoft Store and just threw it all into BattleNet.
There's so many things Microsoft could do to like better improve either that store or the experience for consumers, and they just don't want to do it, or they just don't care to. I don't know what the lore is on it, but it's not good. I'll tell you that much.
No, it's not.
But yeah, it's a real fucking bummer. On a side note, do you want to tell everybody how your fucking almost said Steel Series, your Turtle Beach controller decided the grips was to fucking peel off? Have
So
you told anyone?
I have the Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra controller, and when I got it around, I think it was like a couple of days before Christmas, I got it. It was an amazing, amazing controller. I really, really loved it. It was probably like it quickly became like my Thrustmaster was my favorite controller I had. It quickly replaced my Thrustmaster. The problem was a couple months after that, the grip started to peel off on it, and I got pretty disappointed because I had just left the window in which I could return it. I think it was like 90 days or something at Best Buy. I just left the window in which I could return it, and I was like, "Well, shit, it's $150, and I can't return it." And so I just got really disappointed with it, and I sat it down. I never really picked it up again. I just kind of figured, fuck it, I'm out $150. That's really bullshit. And then randomly, I picked it up, I don't know, last week. And I was like, you know what? These grips are coming off. And it felt like they were starting to come off even more since the last time I used it. And keep in mind, I hadn't used it for like a month. It was just sitting, like doing nothing for like a month. And I picked it up again. I was like, wow, the grips feel like they're coming off even more now. And so I just picked it up and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I just tore the grips off because I'm like, I'm already out of warranty. I'm not going to get this replaced. So fuck it. I'll just tear the grips off. And it's actually pretty comfortable. Like, it's really dumb. It's really shitty that your grips fell off. I don't know. Like, I'm going to have to look that up and see if that's a problem that other people are having. But it's really shitty that that's a problem that's happening.
On such an expensive
yeah, on such an expensive
product.
controller. But like I said, I tore the grips off and I've been using it ever since. It's my main controller again.
So how does it feel without the grips?
It's just smooth on the sides.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's, like
so, if you, so dumb, but why?
If you,
yeah,
like it's like I don't know if you remember you had the Thrustmaster for a little bit, right?
Yeah, until my little baby hands couldn't take it anymore.
So you ever take the side thing off of those? Of those?
Yeah.
So remember how on the Thrustmaster, where's mine at? So if I take the side things off the Thrustmaster, it has those little, like there's like little crevices and stuff on the controller where like it kind of digs into your hand if you hold it without those things on. This one has those crevices, but they're so far in that you don't really feel them. You mostly just feel like a smooth texture.
Oh, okay.
So it's not
like this gross, like sticky. Like
no, it's very smooth, and visually it looks kind of cool because like there's LEDs and stuff in that part of the controller, and the grips were covering it up, so you only saw little strips of it. But without it on, the whole sides of the controller light up, which is pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Again, dumb that it happened. Again, very dumb that it happened. So Turtle Beach, whenever you make another Stealth Ultra 2 or whatever, please get the grips right. Please. Just heads up when you're selling a $150 controller. But yeah. That's my experience with the Stealth Ultra 2. And it sucks too, because I wanted to do a review on it, but now I feel like if I do a review on it, like I probably will at some point, but it's like
I think that actually would be a great review because you can have a lot to say.
Yes,
like I would have it being weird. I get it.
I would have a lot to say about this in a review, but I feel like if I were to record a review right now, I would just be furious at the fact at the grips. And like I want to point that out, but I don't want to make it the whole video. Quite frankly.
Yeah, I got you.
So eventually I will do a review on that controller and, we'll see what happens. But that is the end of the show. We've been going for just over an hour and 9 minutes.
Not bad without Twan.
Yeah, it's not bad. That's not bad at all.
I'm so disappointed he's not here, man, because he loved Hi-Fi Rush more than anyone.
Yeah, I kind of did want to get his impression on that specifically.
Man. Well, we'll have another show with him eventually. We can get his cope session. I mean, he still thinks Astrobot is here every day. So, man, I'll never get over this. Be a man and buy a PSVR headset.
Be a man. Be a man and
Oh.
cry to Astrobot.
I love Twat. He's
That's
ridiculous.
nuts. Oh my
Oh,
god, I
God.
can't believe they call it that. All right, yeah, let's
Oh.
get out of here. Let's get out of here. Mike, where can they find you? What are you up to? All that stuff.
Honestly, if you want to find me anywhere, I just stream over in the Game Drain. I really don't have a social media presence in the same way as I used to. Yeah, but I'm honestly just find me over on the Game Drain streaming.
Sounds
That's
very
really
good. As for myself, you can obviously find me here Mondays, 8 p.m. Eastern. I did get a part-time job, which isn't going great at the moment. I might end up quitting that because I'm not getting any fucking hours. Shout out to Chipotle. I'm sorry, but if I have to work on Mondays, probably not going to have a show. Quite frankly, we'll figure that out when it happens. But we were able to have one this week. I'm pretty happy about that. Appreciate you for stopping by, Stanley Francois. Appreciate Too Big for the super chat. Appreciate Tom for stopping by for a couple minutes back there. But you can find me here on the channel, Alex Games videos Mondays and Fridays. Wednesdays, it's the Two Player Podcast with myself and Ham Solo at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then on Fridays, I'm on Bullsitting over on Ham's channel, TSWS Gaming. Link in the description, I believe. I have that down there for Bullsitting. So that is where you can find me. We're going to get up out of here, and we will see you all next week. Thank you.
Bye-bye.